All right, welcome. Today's session is designed to be highly interactive. From hustle to system, that is operationalizing your startup for scale. So we encourage you to use the Zoom question feature and chat to share your questions, insights, and interesting takeaways. So a few rules to ensure a smooth session. Please keep your microphones muted when not speaking to minimize background noise, and then you can use the question and answer panels for questions. So you respect your time. So a heartfelt welcome to our speaker for today. Our guest speaker for today, Wale Adekanla, who is the founder and CEO, the Leadership Channel Institute. So I will start by reading his profile. All right. So Wale Adekanla is a global recognized leadership strategist, trainer, and Forbes Coaches Council member, with a unique mandate to raise leaders who combine kingdom mindsets with practical leadership systems. He is the creator of Scalable Leadership Framework, SLF, the ADAPT model for sustainable change, and the lead and scale method, proprietary systems that help leaders scale people, systems, and visions without losing spiritual foundations, organizational culture, or influence. For over 2 decades, he has trained and advised more than 25,000 leaders across Africa, the US, and other global markets, equipping executives, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, public officials with tools to lead with integrity, multiply capacity, and build systems that last. Also, he is the founder and CEO of the Leadership Institute and an executive director with Maxwell Leadership, one of the world's foremost leadership development organizations. He also serves as an executive advisor for the Strategic Artificial Intelligence program at Houston Christian University, bringing cutting-edge leadership and AI strategies into boardrooms and government ministries as well. So he's been recognized with various roles. For instance, he is the presidential honor, he has received, the presidential honor award recipient, recognized by the president of Nigeria for national impact and leadership. Oh, that's, wow. Executive advisor to C-suite executive entrepreneurs, public officials, and ministry leaders across 3 continents. And he is also the convener of Scalable Leadership Summit Nigeria and MOEL conference in US, equipping leaders for scalable impact. So he is our guest speaker for today, Mr. Wale Adekanla. A heartfelt welcome to you, sir. So thank you for joining us. So without further ado, please join me in giving a virtual warm welcome to our speaker for today, Mr. Wale Adekanla. Please, you have the stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prince Will. Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody is doing great this wonderful evening. Good evening, good evening. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and thanks for that introduction. I am excited personally to be here to add value and to support entrepreneurs because it takes the power of special skills, let me put it that way, to become an entrepreneur. And you are a problem solver. You have chosen to take some risk. So I want to say a very big thank you to everyone that is listening to me right now, wherever you are joining us from, okay? please feel free. Let me know wherever you are joining us from, just to be able to connect with you. Okay, you can just drop those locations in the comment section. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody for being here. And before I get into my session today, I want to believe that everybody on this call is here to actually learn something about how to move from hustling into system thinking, operationalizing your business. Okay. I want to believe that you are actually at a particular point right now whereby you're thinking about, okay, what next? How can I move my business to the next level? How can I move my teams to the next level? Or maybe you are a solo entrepreneur and you're thinking about, how do I move from where I am right now to the next phase of this business? If that is you, you are the right, place at the right time. So thank you very much and welcome. Okay, I see you are from London, from Lagos. Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we're going to get into the conversation right away. Let me share my slide so that everyone can just follow me as we dive into uh, some of the things I have here to discuss. So in the next 40 minutes thereabouts, I'm going to be focusing on what we have here, and that is from hustle to system. So how can you start operationalizing your startup for scale? Okay. And the first thing that I would love to quickly say here is starting a business is work. Okay. And running your business is also work. The mindset that you need to start the business is completely different from the mindset needed to grow or scale your business. Many people started their businesses, for several reasons. And that could be maybe you just passionate about something. That could be your hobby, something you just love to do. I mean, just like myself, I remember in 2005, when I started my first business, I was just passionate about adding value to people, teaching, and just showing people how to become successful. So I was just teaching on campuses, right? And 2009, I wrote my first book, The Power for Successful Living Made Easy. And when I wrote the book, I remember I printed 1,000 copies and gave out 800. Okay. I gave out about 800, copies of the book for free. Because I love to write, I just wanted people to be successful. So I just distributed the books, gave out the books, right? So I didn't see it as a business. So I just, I saw it as my hobby. So some people started their businesses because they just, saw it as a hobby, which is okay. And that's the mindset. And some people also started their businesses because maybe you grew up in a home where it's normal to have a business. And some also started because probably you look around and you are hungry about something to correct. You just, felt like, okay, there is a need to solve this problem. There is a need to tackle this issue. And you just thought about starting something. So you discovered a solution that was crying for expression inside of you. and then you started to deliver value that could solve those problems. Okay. And, some just started by accident, some stumbled into it. You never planned to start a business. And then somehow, conversations, environment, and the places you've been, you just decided to start the business. I also know some people who are working, probably you were working in an organization, and then you made a decision. You know what? I want to start my own business, right? And then you decided, I don't want to work for anybody anymore. I want to work for myself. I want to move from an employee into an employer, right? And then you made that move, right? But unfortunately, one of the things I've discovered is that what how you started the business, and then how you grow the business, how you scale the business, matters. You have to understand that the mindset that you need to grow and scale your business is completely different from the mindset that you had when you started the business. And today we're going to be talking about those mindsets, the skill set, and the tool set that you need for you to take your business to the next level. So, no matter what happened when you started, it's important to also understand the preparation needed for you to move to the next phase of your business. So, let's start with the paradox, the founder's paradox, as you can see on the screen. Because working with founders, working with many business owners who are, struggling and looking for ways to grow their businesses, I discovered these four powerful uh, statements that I think everybody needs to understand before we move on. The first one is most founders start with passion to solve problems, but without thinking about systems. They are not thinking about systems. You're passionate about what you're doing. You're passionate about growing. You're passionate about adding value, right? But not thinking about what do I need to do for me to move this to the next level. Okay. We're going to look into that today. And number two, you do everything, and that's okay. When I started my own business, I was doing everything by myself. That is okay. That's how we all started. And that's how you start. Every great business person you see in the world today, that is exactly the way they started. Okay. You are the marketer, you are the salesperson, you are the operator, you are the customer service representative, you are the HR, right? You are everything. You're starting the business. It's okay. But if you want to grow your business and scale it, that is not okay. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. What do you need to do? What shifts do you need to understand and implement for you to grow and then scale the business successfully? All right. Number three, the business grows, but you become the bottleneck. And this is a very big fundamental principle that every business person must understand. To become a successful entrepreneur, you have to understand what it means to become a bottleneck. Okay? You don't want to be a bottleneck. You don't want to be one. The moment you become a bottleneck, your business is going to be stuck. Okay, you're going to be stuck. All right. And for you to grow the business, you need to start thinking about how can I remove myself? And how can I also start thinking about bigger things? Okay. How can I replace? How can I replicate? How can I turn some of the tasks or some of the things I'm doing today into some automated processes, or how can I delegate some of these activities that I'm busy with right now? So we're going to look into that as well. The processes, the principles, the systems, the structures that you need to follow and then implement to grow and to scale your business. Now, the fourth thing is hustle built it. Yes, okay, but systems will sustain your business. Now, here's the problem. And I have this in my book that will be coming out in the next 2 months or less. The problem is not growth, it is organizational health. When an organization is healthy, growth happens automatically. Now, I don't want you to miss something here, which is very important: health. If the organization is healthy, now growth happens automatically. You don't have to pray for the growth, it just happens because the organization is healthy. So, what makes an organization healthy? We're going to talk about that as well today. Internal integration is very critical. And before you can integrate and your internal factors within your business, everything must first start with you. In fact, your business cannot outgrow you. As the entrepreneur, the most important person that needs to grow, that needs to scale, is you as the entrepreneur. If you are not growing, your business won't grow. If you are not scaling, your business won't scale. Okay, I think I need to repeat that. If you, as the entrepreneur, is not growing, your business won't grow. Your business will be stuck. If you are not scaling your skills, if you are not scaling your mindset, your business won't scale, because everything is going to be dependent on your own growth. Okay. And that is very important. If you miss everything today, don't miss that statement that I just made. Okay. That is very critical. So, life in the hustle zone. Yeah. I want us to talk about hustling, right? Everything depends on you. There's something that I think is very important here, which I call the leader value. The leader value. Please don't forget that. There are three factors here. The first factor is the founder functioning as the operator forever. You are the best in the room. You are the best customer service. You are the best operator in your business. You are the best of everything. If they come to your business and they ask for the best salesperson, you are the one. Okay. If they ask for the best customer service rep, you are the one. You are always the best because you want to be the best, right? Okay. There's nothing wrong about that, but I'm going to show you today what is completely wrong about that and why many businesses are not growing. Okay, because you are always the best. Everything depends on you. Another leader value that is important is the leader, the entrepreneur functioning like a manager. Okay, the moment you start functioning like a manager, your business won't grow, because there is a big difference between a manager and a leader. You have to become a leader. Please don't forget this. I'm using an important word: become. Become. Okay, you have to become. If you are not becoming and then you start acting like a leader, there's a difference between becoming a leader and acting like a leader. Some people, they've studied people who are truly leading, and they have picked some things from them, and they start acting as if they are leaders. You can't act forever. Okay, eventually you are going to fall back to your default, and then you have to grow yourself to actually become a leader. And that's what is very important as you start growing and scaling your business. So everything depends on you. That's a life. in the hustle zone. Okay, no clear structure or documented process. I'm going to talk about the reason why this is very critical. Because everything you document in your business is an asset for the business. Please don't forget that statement. Everything you document in your business is an asset in your business. Okay. Then decision, fatigue is constant. If everything depends on you, you are the one who makes all the decisions. It's okay to start to make all the decisions as to start the business. A one-man business, you are a freelancer, or maybe you are a salesperson, and then you start. You're planning to grow that particular business. Maybe it's a sales company or a consultant company. No matter what you do, whether you're selling a product or services, of course, you make all the decisions as the entrepreneur starting the business. But the moment you start growing, you make a decision to grow and scale the business, then things have to change. So we're going to talk about some of the things you need to adjust and how to create that shift. Then the fourth also zone that many entrepreneurs find themselves is the chaos zone. Okay, scaling is chaotic. Don't let anyone deceive you that, oh, you know what, scaling is not chaotic, everything is just smooth, it's just simple, you just have to remove chaotic situations and then everything is going to be smooth. Yes, eventually you're going to experience freedom, but scaling is chaotic and you need to understand how to navigate through all these chaotic situations, so that you can scale successfully, because you don't make a decision to scale your business and then become free. Oh, I am free forever, right? And you're just chilling and you're just relaxing. No, you leave something to move into something bigger. Basically, you replace your priorities. We're going to talk about that as well. So listen to this. At this stage, when you are at this zone, you are not scaling, you are stretching. You have built a good product, of course, you have built a good service, you have something quality that you are delivering the market. Because this session basically is not about the first level, and the first level basically is the explorer level. I'm going to talk about that as we move on. I'm not talking about testing your service or testing your product if it's market fit right now. I'm talking to people who have already started selling something. Now you are growing the business. You are planning to scale the business, or maybe right now you are at the red zone. You are experiencing you are overwhelmed. Let me put it that way. You are overwhelmed. Okay. I understand that. I was there until 2012. I was completely overwhelmed. I was everything. Okay. And if I have the time, I can share some of my stories as well. But not a repeatable process. So that's why most startups stall at this hustle zone. Okay. So let me quickly move into what I call the transition from hustle to system. Hustle to system. Now, we're about to get started, and I think it's important, if you're writing, if you are here, if you are not here 100%, I want to really call your attention to what we're about to get into now. You need to be here 100%, because everything I'm going to be sharing moving forward is going to be about how to move into that phase that you need to be in order to transform your business. So let's talk about the transition that you need. Now, I want to move into the shift that must happen if you truly want to grow and scale that business. Now, the first thing that happens in the life of every entrepreneur is to be an explorer. Okay. You're finding a product, you're looking for ways to solve the problem. Okay. You have a solution, you have value that you have produced that you can exchange with money, right? Basically. And you're looking for the market fit. I mean, market fit. That's where you start from. But the moment you start selling, let's say you've sold to like 10 people and you've tested, you know that, oh, this works. All right, let me continue to sell this product or this service to other people. And then you package it, you put it together to start, selling. Now, here's the thing. Money is coming in, right? Money is coming in. And you just realize that, many people are looking for ways to get your product or to get your services. And then you are the only one who is not doing this, running around, catching up. And, you just seeing all those alerts coming into your bank account. Ooh, yeah, I'm cashing out, right? The money is coming in. But here's the thing. If you don't start thinking about phase two, you're going to break down. Yeah, at some point, you are going to break down. Okay. It's going to happen automatically. I was there in 2011. I broke down. Okay, because when I had my first, I remember when I was organizing several seminars in 2010, 2011. I would carry the generator. I would be the one to look for the venue, the same person to prepare the slide. I was also the one carrying all the chairs, calling all the event planners. I was the speaker. I was everything, right? I was everything. So, but 2012, I was completely overwhelmed. And I didn't know much about this next level that I was supposed to become an architect. Now, if you truly want to grow your business, you need to move away from being an explorer into an architect. And an architect is someone who is going to start creating designs. You need to become a designer, someone who is going to start creating and designing systems. Okay, I call it predictable systems. Okay, and what does that really mean? That means you need to start documenting. Okay, you need to start documenting everything that you have done successfully as an explorer. How did you make the first sale? How are you marketing? What exactly have you done that worked? Okay, what are the things that you have tried that didn't work? You need to understand, you need to be clear about things that work and things that did not work. Start documenting everything that works, that you have done successfully, so that you can have it as one of your standards that you can repeat. Okay, if it works, then look for ways to grow it and then scale it. If it doesn't work, look for ways to transform it so that it can continue to work. Okay, so that is the first thing that you need to start thinking about. Documenting everything that you are doing right now. In fact, the first thing is not for you to start looking for, oh, let me go get some help. I'm going to talk about that as we move on. The first thing is to start looking for ways to put down everything that you are doing right now. Okay, put down everything that you are doing right now. That means you have started creating your own system. Okay, everything you document is an asset. It's an asset. I call it living playbook. It's a living, breathing playbook. That is a playbook that you are going to continue to update as you move up to grow and scale the business. Does that make sense? So you have to become an architect here, someone who is going to start designing predictable systems. So when you move from being an architect, when you start scaling the business, you need to become a strategist. I have these 7 levels to scaling businesses, but today I'm just focusing on the first 5. In fact, I think I'm going to just focus on the first 3. Okay, so let's leave the last 2 for now. The first 3 are very critical. If you can be successful in the first 3 levels, you can easily move to the mature level, and then you can easily organize your business. All right. So The third level that you need to move into is you becoming a strategist. Now, who is a strategist here? Is someone who is transitioning from a founder-led business to a team-managed business. You need to move from a founder-led into a team-led business. Now, whatever that you have started creating at this second phase are going to be needed when you get to the third phase. Because whatever processes and systems that you have created at the second phase, now you need to now continue to refine and then replicate and duplicate those processes in that team, and then make sure that they cut across teams so that you can standardize your processes. I'm going to show you how you can do that successfully as we move on. Now, I'm creating a foundation here. And it's important for us to know that you need to shift from becoming an explorer, which is very critical. That's where you start from, into an architect. And then from an architect into a strategist. Okay. And then when you start functioning as a strategist, then you need to now become a steward. Okay, I'm not going to focus on that today, but my focus is going to be how you can scale the business, because every level of your business requires new skills, new mindset, and new tool set. Okay, once you start functioning as a founder-led business, then your business is ready to fly. The moment you start functioning as a founder-led business, then your business is ready to fly. But if you don't understand how to create systems and structures for you to start functioning as a founder-led business, then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck. So the shift from hustle to system happens between the phase 2 and phase 3 of your business. You need to know, how do I become an architect? How do I become a strategist? You've started a business, your business is growing, money is coming in. Let me quickly say this. You can actually be making money without the right structures, because you are just hustling. I grew up in a family where my mother, um, you know, she, she did that business for more than 25 years. I grew up to know her as an entrepreneur, as a caterer. In fact, she inspired me into teaching scaling, into helping businesses to scale, because she built a business that is not sustainable. Okay. And she decided to retire. She gave up. Wow. There are so many people today who are just behaving and also producing businesses like that. When we had a conversation about this in 2015, she was like, wow, I wish I knew this, right? Because she she did her catering work for several years. She trained more than 40 people. Nothing was documented. The names of those people were never documented. I ask, what about this man? What about this woman? I don't even know where they are again in the world. Oh, okay. All right. So everything's scattered everywhere, and no processes, no systems, nothing was put in place. So when you start making money, because she made money, okay? She was making money every weekend and she was cool with it without thinking about how to make that business sustainable. If you go to Japan today, and if you study Japan, you will realize that there are several businesses today in Japan that have lived more than 1,000 years. How did they do that? How? How? These are some of the questions we need to be asking. These are some of the things we need to be thinking about as entrepreneurs. Okay. Delta Airline just celebrated 100 years of existence since 1925, right? And on that very day, like 2 months ago, when they had the event, the CEO says something. He said, it is time for us to start planning for the next 100 years. And then they made that declaration on that day. They painted the future, the next 100 years of Delta Airline. Yeah, that's exactly what I am talking about here. Okay. What's going to happen in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 50 years of your business? Are you thinking about the business outliving your own reality or your own existence? Can that business continue to live even when you leave the business? So we need to start thinking about those questions. What are your answers? And that's why we need to start creating the shifts that are needed at every phase of the business. So the next phase that you need to start thinking about is why most founders struggle. Why? Why are they struggling? So the first thing is this: lack of documented systems. You're just doing it, you are winging it. You don't wing it in business. Okay. You can start, looking for ways, just to get one contract or the other contract to sell some of your products or some of your services. Yeah, you can start that way. But to scale it and then to be successful at it, you have to document systems. All right. Number two, over dependence on the founder. Number three, weak team accountability. Okay, I'm going to touch that as we move on. Number four, fear of delegation. No one can do it like me. Oh, okay. Okay, you are the best in the room, and you are always the best. And you have people that are supporting you. Okay, if you have people who are supporting you today, oh, and you are still the best every time, no one can do anything except they come through you, except they talk to you, except you make that decision. Nobody can make any decision. Oh, if that is the case, you are not ready to scale the business. You're not ready to scale the business. So it's important for us to have this, to understand some of the fundamentals. If you truly want to scale your business, the fifth one there is confusing business with progress. Okay, confusing business with progress. You're just busy and trying to look for ways to get everything done. Are you progressing? Okay, are you progressing? You need to start asking those questions. And then this is where numbers, comes in. You need to be very, very much financially, you know, um, uh, let me put it this way, financially educated. Let me put it that way. And I was looking for the right, for the best word to use there. You cannot scale your business if you don't understand your numbers. You cannot scale your business if you don't understand your numbers. Okay, before I move to the next slide, let me quickly give you 5 systems that you need to master if you want to scale your business. 5 systems. And as we move on, I'm going to touch base on each of these 5 systems because everything else is connected to these 5 systems. If you don't master these 5 systems, you're going to have a very big challenge as you continue to grow or scale the business. You're going to get to the red zone. You're going to become the bottleneck at all times. All right. And you're going to get to that hustle zone that I mentioned a few minutes ago. Number one, you need to have your marketing system. Very important. Number two, you need to have your sales system. Very critical. Number three, please, if you're writing that down, you need to document everything I'm talking about now. Very, very critical. You need to have your operational system. Okay. There are many things involved when it comes to operational system. You have your delivery, you have your execution, system, you have your HR, you have so many, many things that you have to, take note of here that are under that particular system. And then you need to also have your leadership system. Leadership system. And under leadership systems, you have three major factors. Number one is the personal system, personal framework. You need to have your own personal growth framework, and you need to have your own personal KPI. Very critical. When you start moving from a founder-led to a team-led business, and that's a level 3, when you start scaling the business, you need to also have your team KPI. Your team growth plan must be very clear. The objectives must be clear. Everybody must be on the same page and then get to work to deliver the objective that you have designed together. Please take note of everything I'm saying. Designed together. You are not designing the objective. Yes, everything must start with you, but you don't just sit down somewhere in your office at one corner, design the objectives, and then call your team. Hey, everyone, this is what we're doing this quarter. All right, let's get to work. No, you need to work with them. You need to create it together for you to experience high level of commitment. Okay, and that's where clarity comes in. Then number four. Sorry, before I get to number five, I think that's number four. Leadership. You need to think about your leadership system. And I've talked about individual KPI, your team KPI, and then your organizational KPI. Okay, your organizational KPI is very critical. That's when you get to level 4 and level 5. When you start scaling and then building upon what you have already built, scaling your teams. You can't scale a team that is not scalable. Not every team is scalable. I'm going to mention that as we move on. If you want to scale your business, you need to create a team that is scalable. And creating a team that is scalable is dependent on you as the entrepreneur. That means you have to shift from being the operator into becoming a business owner. All right. Whereby there are other people who are making things happen on your behalf. Very critical here. All right. So you have your personal KPI, your own growth plan. You must have a system around your own growth plan. You are not just winging it. You have to be intentional. You have to grow because the business won't outgrow you. So you must have your own KPIs. Then you have your team KPI. Very critical. It has to be clear. Everybody must understand the KPI. Okay, you walk through it together, you design it together, and then you make a decision to move together. You have your organizational KPI as well. That's when you start thinking about the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and where the business is going. It is your responsibility to keep on painting the picture. Don't assume that your team understands the vision. You have to keep on talking about it every time. You cannot get tired talking about the vision. You can't get tired talking about it. It's not just something you just put in your office, the vision and the mission and the core values. No, you have to talk about it. You've got to be consistent about that. So the fifth one is financial system. Financial system. All right. You have to design your financial system. You need to understand your numbers. Okay, because cash flow is the oxygen of your business. So if the cash is not flowing, then eventually you're going to close down the business. Okay, so you need to understand numbers. These are some of the skill sets that you need to master as an entrepreneur. So system thinking is completely different from hustling, because right now you are intentional. You are putting processes in place. You have your playbooks. You are also looking for ways to document, implicit information and knowledge. All right. You are looking for ways to capture everything that is going on within the business. You cannot have scattered systems around your business. You cannot. You need to make sure that everything that you are putting together now as your living playbook, everything must be within the business. You must have the right tools. You must have the right documentation processes. For example, let's say you have documented how you have some certain meetings, okay, weekly or maybe daily. You have documented that. And then you want to have a quick, shift or a quick adjustment about how the meeting should be done. That document must be updated. Okay, that's why the document must be a living document. That's what that really means. That is an asset in your business. Okay, it is important to document everything that you do as the business person. Sometimes you need to produce videos, because if you want to scale the business, you don't have to be involved in everything. You don't have to be present, even to help everyone who is joining your team to understand the vision. For example, we we have several teams globally. We have many, many part of our businesses that we've outsourced, right? And there was a particular time we outsourced a particular part of our designs and some of the tech, things that we do in the business to some group of people in Asia, and they wanted to understand the vision. So I just went into some of the documentations, some of the videos that I produced like 8 years ago, and everything was emailed to them. They listen to every video, every process. They listen to the vision. They listen to the why. So I was not even involved at all because I already documented everything. I had the videos in place. I had the processes in place. I had all those things in place. And then they studied everything. And then I came on the call and started answering all their questions, because I already documented everything. And then the teams that were actually doing those work before the new team came in to join them, all right? Those teams also documented their own processes, things that they already did successfully. Remember what I said in the beginning: document what works, and then understand what does not work. Okay. And then once you understand what is not working, look for ways to transform them. Okay. And then everything that works in your business, document it so that you can repeat it and then scale what works. Right. So the system is the strategy. Scaling requires systems, not just more effort that you are putting into it. You have to be intentional and be strategic. So systems create predictability, stability, and then scalability. I think I mentioned that already. And I said something when I started, that a healthy internal environment will produce external growth. So you want to increase your ROI, you must have healthy internal environment. So what do you need to produce healthy internal environment? Two factors: trust and respect. If you cannot trust the people that will be coming on board to join you to build your business, all right, if you can't trust them, you're not ready to grow the business. Okay. But you can't trust, please pay attention to this. You can't just trust blindly. You need to get some things done yourself to make sure that everyone you bring on board understands the vision. That's it. That is your job. No assumptions. Don't expect them to understand where you're going without helping them to understand where you're going. It is your responsibility to teach. It is your responsibility to train. It is your responsibility to pause and ask questions. It is your responsibility to show up when you start growing your business. I'm going to talk about some practical things you need to actually do to move from just me into growing a small team and then scaling that small team. And then at what point do I need to start building a small team? And then at what point do I need to start scaling the small team? And then how can I produce a scalable team as well? These are some of the questions, and I think I'm going to quickly touch base as I move on. So,
okay. So just wondering, thank you, Mr. Wale, sincere appreciation. But checking with the team, do we have questions already coming in? I know we need to help to round up on the dot of the hour. Maybe we should begin to drop the questions for you now, and then you use the questions to just. Thank you very much, Mr. Wale. I apologize, I was in transit. Victor Afolabi is the name, the founder and the host of TechBiz and founder of Eco Innovation. And it's a pleasure having you on the call. Bola Titu and the team, can you please help us check? Yes, I already see the questions, just so that we are able to wrap up together in this hour. And so when you move quickly into the next point, I wanted you to also quickly help us answer these questions, because again, apart from the Zoom, we have this program being streamed across Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all the other platforms. Keep the Zoom link only restricted to our teams so that it doesn't get hacked, and then we'll post them there. So you see a few questions, and I didn't want to deny our people the opportunity of you solving their questions based on the expertise. We will take also the slides to share, but quickly, I wanted to find out, how can startup founders build teams that operate independently of their constant supervision? I'm sure you agree, if there's anything that frustrates entrepreneurs about scaling, I mean, we're talking about moving from hustling to scaling, it's about the people. It's a talent challenge. And here you said, to a large extent, you move from hustling to scale by making sure you have a capable team who can run with the vision and make things happen, and you de-emphasize yourself to a large extent. So the question from someone is, how can you do this without constantly supervising? Can you just please take that?
Fantastic. Great question there. So, how can you move without constantly supervising? Okay, so let me quickly say this. There's something that I call the rule of three. Okay, and if you want to scale, if you want to constantly be working with your team without supervising them every time, then as you start bringing people in, following the rule of three, for example, if you are there and then you're thinking about, okay, I'm not there yet, how do I bring people in? The rule of three basically means you hire, few people, maybe like two people that are going to take some of the tasks that you are busy with right now. Okay. So when you bring in, few people, let's say two people that are going to be taking some red task. I call them red task. We have the green task, the red task. The green task are the tasks that you are passionate about, things you can delegate right now. You need to focus on this. For example, sales, you need to be very, committed to that delivery of the work. Now, you also have the red task, some things you don't like to do, maybe documentation and stuff like that, right? So now, how can you now be working with them? Number one, you need, you can't, let me put it this way, you need to understand delegation system. That's the first thing I would tell you. Understand delegation system. Delegation system is under the leadership framework that I talked about, the 5 pillars. Remember the 5 pillars I mentioned? Marketing, sales, operations, leadership, and financial pillar. So delegation is very critical there. And for you to delegate, you can't just delegate without going through a system of delegation. Number one, you need to audit. The first thing you need to do is to audit. What exactly do I need to delegate? All right. And you need to be clear about this even before you bring the people in. Most of the issues is that they bring people in and they're trying to figure out, oh, what do I need to give to them to do? No, understand the work first. Then when they come in, you've audited and everything. Then you are now need to train. They have to be trained. You can't just give the work and say, oh, I'm trusting you to do it. Okay. You know what? You people should understand. You are an expert. I hired you as an expert.
And like you said earlier on in your webinar, documenting is one of the things we struggle with in this part of the world. And like you said, everything you've documented as a process becomes an asset for your business. We need to trust that, it's like doing, handbooks for dummies, making sure that all the processes are laid out there. And I think I hear you say that clearly. So for the person who asked that question, I think the speaker today has made it very clear. You need to delegate to the people, but also understand that there's a process and there's a framework that guides them by ensuring delegation. And of course, you also talk about the 5 P's, which you will see in the presentation. And again, before you go, you told us about your book so that we also can order for all the people on our audience and people in part of the TechBiz community. We have a community of about 3,000 people, and it will be such a privilege if you're able to throw the book in there and see how can founders recognize the signs that it's time to start systemizing their operations? So which means, when do I, when it's no longer about me, when do I begin to have people bring me? How can founders recognize the signs that it's time to systemize their operations? And then I'll add to this also, because of time, in your experience, what is one recurring operational mistake that organizations make and aspiring entrepreneurs that want to succeed in business and avoid? So first is, how do I know it's time? Second is, from experience, what mistakes should I avoid? Okay, we'll take that. I see many questions coming in, but again, it's dot of the hour. We need to stop. But questions are important. What is the sign or the time, that I see in the class that let me know it's time to begin to move? Second thing, because you did say that when the system is healthy, growth comes. I mean, this is coming from things I shared earlier today. But you said, what's the time? And also, in your experience, what should I avoid as a mistake you've seen over? Back to you, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir. So, the time for you to start, growing and scaling the business, you need to first understand the system that you have put in place. So you are the only one doing the work. So let me quickly answer that using the rule of three that I mentioned. All right, I've used it practically, and you need to understand that. So you need to first audit your own task, everything you do yourself. The moment you start getting overwhelmed, maybe money is coming in, that's okay, right? And then you realize that, hey, you are the one running, left and right and trying to get everything done. And, your customers are not satisfied anymore. It is the moment you start having that, feeling that, hey, I've got a problem here, when the business becomes a job, then you need to start putting systems in place. The first thing is you can apply the rule of three. The rule of three is audit everything you do. For example, let's say you do 15 things, okay? And then look for, okay, how many things can I let go? All right, maybe 5 tasks or maybe 10 tasks. Then the next thing you do, you calculate your own value. Calculate your value. How much do I bring in every month? Most entrepreneurs don't even know their own value, how much they bring in every month. Know your own value is very critical before you bring anybody in. So let's say 1 million naira is your own value every month. For example, divide 1 million naira by the number of hours that you invest every week or every month. So let's say you are investing 80 hours. Okay, so divide 80 hours by that 1 million naira. That gives you around 12,025, I believe, right? And then
the value power, yeah.
yeah, so you now have to divide that by 4. Okay, so if that gives you maybe around 3,000 or something, look for somebody who you can pay. If you divide everything by 4, you realize it's around 100,000 naira, for example, every month. So look for somebody that you can pay below 100,000 naira who can take those tasks away from you. Okay, maybe it could be maybe someone that can pay 50,000 naira or maybe 40,000 naira. You can actually get 2 people with that. Get them who can take some tasks. I call them the red zone. So put those things away and then assign those work that you've already audited. You have them clear, and then give it to them, train them. They have to be trained. You cannot just give it to them. And after training them, then the next thing you need to do is now help them. You do it, they watch you, you show it to them, you've documented through some videos and everything. Get them busy, let them understand the vision. Then plan with them, and then everybody, once you have planned with them and everybody understand it, and then they get to work. Are they going to fail sometimes? Yes. Okay. They're going to fail sometimes. They're going to make some mistakes. You have to be with them. I do it. You watch me. You do it with me. Okay. And then, you do it. I watch you. And then you let them do the job. And then, but you can't just leave them and just let them be, especially when you start growing the business. You still have to be around, supporting them, working together as a team. But as you continue to grow, you need to start trusting them because they will make mistakes. You need to start trusting them to make some minor decisions. Even if they make mistakes, you have to look for ways to make sure that, you manage those errors. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. And sincerely, that was quite instructive. And to everyone, finally, I mean, it's the dot of the hour, and you know what it is with us with time. We will need to make a hard stop in here, but a big, big, big appreciation to you, Mr. Wale, for pouring from the wealth of your experience over this 1 hour. I mean, if we let you go on for the next 2 hours, I'm sure there's so much. And when someone goes through your profile and the consulting work you've done and the things you champion, both here in the US, it's obvious that there's so much we can tap from you. And please, coming directly from me, I will request that we should bring you back. We just couldn't maximize it. There's anything holding back the country is the fact that we don't have enough scalable businesses. I was reading about an article from the Economics, I think earlier this year, he said Africa is dealing with too many businesses but too little businesses. So the fact is that we've got so many plethora of businesses, but many of them are just too small to drive industrialization and drive scale. And you are speaking to the heart of the matter. So I want to say a big thank you for being on this call, not taking your presence for granted. And to everyone on the call, you should please know that the recording of this session will be on our website by 12 noon tomorrow, and my colleagues are dropping the link onto the site right now. I think it's www.ecofault/webinar. You will find this particular episode as well as all the 100 and if I do check, which makes it quite interesting, we have, this is your 120th webinar that we've had. So all the other 119 speakers plus this webinar is also available in there. Please feel free by 12 noon tomorrow, you'll find it there, because again, we understand that people need to start going home and people need to start, and we like to stop at the dot of the hour. So once a big thank you to everyone. This is TechBiz, comes from the staple of Eco Innovation Center, is the way in which we try to fulfill the mission environment like ours. And our focus is on startups, which are organizations and companies that are tech-led, which have technology at the core of their operations, and that's what it's about. And over the years, we brought subject matter experts around different fields, 119 of them, and we think it's a privilege. So my colleagues will have dropped the link, or feel free to also go through this. And in case you have other questions, you want to speak with the speaker, speak with myself and so many other subject matter experts, feel free to join our community. We have about 2,000 to 3,000 people today on Instagram and on WhatsApp. My colleagues are dropping the link also. Join the TechBiz Nation community, where on the go we can be able to support you and information about the Nigerian tech ecosystem, jobs, grants, opportunities, you will find it there. And finally, I'll be rounded up by Art of Technology Lagos. The 7th edition is here. We will have speakers speaking from all over the world. It's the largest gathering of ecosystem players. And what does AOT does? It bridges the gap between innovation and policy making, not only in Lagos, but across Lagos, Nigeria, and in West Africa. And AOT registration is on, and this year promises to be exciting. 6 different things are happening. There's a career pavilion getting people to get jobs. We have the Collaborate Lagos, which we're pitching to solve problems in Lagos. We have the main plenary and so many exhibitions, and so many people will be there. I encourage you. The link is also on the chat. Sign up for AOT 7.0 today. And there are a lot of amazing prizes and gifts that our sponsors will be giving out to those who come in and sign up early. It's a one-day event on the 4th of December. Please sign up. It promises to be life transforming. And later in the evening, we'll be giving out the Tech Ecosystem Awards, where we have best startups in Lagos that will be rewarded. Please make sure you keep a date with us as we have AOT 7.0. And on that note, I want to say a big thank you for everybody who has kept watch with us again today. TechBiz comes to you every last Thursday of the month, and this is the TechBiz edition for October. Thanks for being there and for supporting this mission. My name remains Victor Gbenga, Afolabi, the founder of Eco Innovation Center and the host of TechBiz. Do have a great weekend starting tomorrow, and I look forward to hosting you. Hope we'll catch up with you later today. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.